Hey guys, I'm Fancy,
I'm Colleen.
and this is Murder by Design. And tonight we have a really special guest, but we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Go figure. That's what always happens. We're trying to figure out. She's in her car, and it's just the speaker is not. It's not picking her up her voice.
I think it's the Bluetooth. If she's connected via Bluetooth.
Yeah, but other people have done it, so that's why. I don't know. Are you connected, Anne? Are you connected via Bluetooth, or are you just like running it through like an aux cord, like a cord? So the problem is that if we do it the other way. Sorry guys, we're just experiencing some technical difficulties. We're trying to work them out right now. The only thing is I know that if we do it the way,
then one of us doesn't.
One of us can't talk to her.
Yeah.
Fudge nugget. Fooey, 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 fooey. I have an idea. Hold on. Hang on. Where's my phone? Okay, so if I do this, let's see here. I have an idea. Perhaps if I join with my phone and then I call her, then we might be able to hear her that way. Maybe. Let's try that. Hold on. Let's see here. Okay, so hold on just 1 second, Anne. I'm going to try to call you. If you want to get off of here, I'll try to call you and we'll see if this will work. Okay, let's see here. Okay, guys, I swear I'm trying. I'm working on it here.
Do you want me to, maybe?
Okay. Now this is me.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to talk about the news?
Yes, you go ahead and talk about Ruth, and I will see if I can get this on.
So, guys, if you haven't already heard, it was just recently announced, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg died today. Notorious RBG, one of the champions for women's rights on the Supreme Court. She's dealt with different kinds of cancer over the last, several years. And she was dealing with pancreatic cancer hard for the last couple of years. Pancreatic cancer is pretty deadly. And that's what she passed away of. So it's a little hard. Obviously, she's, women's rights pioneer, and she has been strong. And so our thoughts are going out to her, her family, her colleagues. People have been working with her for decades. So I just want to let you guys all know that. Very sad. I love RBG. We're trying to get the technical difficulties, guys. We typically, almost every time we have a live interview, we deal with this kind of difficulty, especially when we have people from in different time zones. I believe Anne's in Pacific time. I'm in Central time. Fancy's in Eastern time. So, but I hope everybody else, your week is going pretty good. I can see Anne now, sort of. I can't hear. Unless that's Fancy. I don't know. So how have your guys' weeks been? We know we've been super busy on our end. I still like to say September is moving right along. I'm pretty jacked about it. Just want this year to keep going. I say it all the time, 2020 sucks. And today was not any more good news. We had the guy who starred on Black Panther passed away, I believe also from cancer. He had colon cancer, RBG. I need to do more for cancer research. Sad day. We're working on it, guys. If you're still listening, we're working on it.
Colleen, are you able to hear her now?
No.
No.
No. It was like an echo chamber of just fancy. Sorry, guys, my mind like mentally went blank when I saw that RBG had passed away. I wanted her to stay in a bubble. And
Okay, guys. Unfortunately, there is just something going on with Anne's connection. Oh, hold on. I guess I'm still connected somehow.
I was gonna say it's echoing.
Okay. Yeah, it's just echoing. I'm really sorry, guys. We're having a really hard time with Anne's connection. So sadly, we're going to have to reschedule with her. Unfortunately, I feel terrible. I hate when this happens, but there's something about when somebody calls in with their phone sometimes, then we can't hear it. And so then that's a problem. And so she wasn't at home. So what we're going to try and do is just, we can briefly talk about the case tonight with you guys if you'd like. And you guys can ask questions. And if you have questions for Anne specifically, who, if you guys don't know who Anne is, she was the attorney that represented the Cox family in their lawsuit against the state of, was it
Washington.
I never remember which one because they were in so many different states.
Right, Oregon, Washington.
Right, but it was for against the Department of Health and Child Services, and she is the one that just helped them get awarded like a $98 million settlement. But there's been some pushback from the judge.
Yeah, in the last 2 days. So technically, she's still representing them as this continues to advance. But this is in relation to the Susan Cox Powell case. She was representing her parents regarding the death of Susan and Josh's children by Josh.
Yeah. Right. So like I said, guys, I'm really sorry. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we will pre-tape a episode with her this week, and I'll try and get that up immediately so that you guys have it. It's something with cell phones. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. We have a lot of problems when we have like Cheryl McCollum on. There's always a lot of interference. And so we've had the same problem as far as trying to do it where, I just put her on speakerphone but nobody can ever hear Colleen then. So I don't want it to end up like that. But here's the thing, this is a case that I have followed from the very beginning. It was very heartbreaking. First Susan, obviously went missing. Josh was obviously suspected of, taking her life. And basically, there's a lot of speculation that she is in a mine shaft somewhere or down a well. But then the children were taken away, and the Department of Social Services was in charge of visitation with Josh. And the day There was a day that the children came to visit. The children ran ahead. He opened the door. They came in. He slammed the door in the social worker's face, and then proceeded to take his life and the lives of his children, which
And then
basically a really
set the
coward's
house
way
on
out.
fire.
Yes, and then set the house on fire. So, total coward.
And he lost custody, or children were removed because they found child pornography on the computers in the home, as well as evidence that Josh's dad was a offender and stalker and very creepily recording Susan, obsessed with her. But so there were many issues regarding, is it safe for the kids to be in the custody of Josh and his family, especially while Susan was missing. We've briefly talked about this case, like mentioned it, not really talked about it in relation to the Laura Bible Ashley Freeman case, because their bodies still haven't been found. And that's in Oklahoma, where they believe they're probably down a mine shaft. And unfortunately, that's what I think the most likely place is of Susan, is in a mine shaft or a well, just like those girls. And obviously it's been many, many, many years since Susan went missing. And I believe I don't follow up on this case that often, especially after the children passed away. But I believe many of the parties in Josh's family are dead.
Yes, almost everyone is dead. Yes. So the kids are dead. Josh is dead. His father's dead. So, I mean, one of the things is why would they bring this case? But the idea here, I believe, is to make it very known to Department of Social Services that they need to do a better job of protecting children, much like what, and I was actually going to talk to Anne about this tonight, and we will, when we talk with her, I'm going to ask her about this, but it's very similar to the case. The only other time I've ever seen Department of Social Services be sued for their negligence in a case that they were handling was the criminal case that was in California of Gabriel Fernandez. That was the very first time that social workers were ever charged for their own negligence, that the Department of Social Services was charged with negligence like that in a criminal case.
I believe that was dropped, wasn't it?
It was, yes. I was just going to say they dropped the charges, which was very upsetting. And I watched the Netflix special on that, and I also have friends who work in LA County that are familiar with that DA specifically and know how much time and effort he put into it. So that was a very heartbreaking. So this case, being the fact that this went through the civil court, it's a little different. There was still a jury. They still decided on what they felt was fair. But obviously, the state basically they went ahead and tried to say that it wasn't
too much
of a settlement. But the idea here isn't necessarily the money. It's
right.
Foxes aren't looking for a payout. That's not what it's about. It's about getting justice for these children, and not just these children, but all these children. Because in the case with Gabriel Fernandez, that case got dropped. And when the prosecutors went and got the plea deal for the two, the parent, the mom, and the stepfather, they found I think it was another 110 cases in the same county that were very similar. And like a week after they got the verdict and everything, and got it all put through, another child, very similar circumstances, ended up same situation. So this is becoming a problem, and it's not to say that social services, these people are overworked, they're underpaid.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely can attest to this. This is why Tim refuses to work with children, because he finds it too heartbreaking, even though he works in just the elderly abuse spectrum. But
which is heartbreaking too,
right? Just the other side of life, where I do pediatrics, so I deal with abused and sick kids. And he's like, I don't know how you do what you do. And I'm like, I don't know how you do what you do.
Right.
but they have, caseloads of 30 to 50 or more children that they are responsible to keep track of. They're always adding new cases. There's, it's criminal cases, neglect cases. But the issue is that when reports are made and they have followed up, but they don't do anything about those reports. There's the problem. If there was like a time lapse in between, it was first reported and maybe they didn't get to them because they're overworked. That's a different story. When you follow up and be like, yep, this is true, but I'm not going to do anything. And that happens over and over again. That's the problem.
The case that I've been waiting on files for forever because of what they say is COVID. However, they pulled those files for us months and months before COVID, and I don't know why we didn't receive them. But in the Lacey Spears case, the social workers in that case flabbergasted me. Like, oh, I went and I knocked on the door, but mom never answered. So case closed. Oh, I went again and I talked to grandma and she said, oh, he's fine. Case closed is beyond bizarre to me. Like, and that case, it was over and over and over again. Our other, head nurse, Titania, was very involved in looking into that case because, she wanted to look at the similarities between that case, which is another Munchausen by proxy case, and the case of Gypsy Rose that we did. Obviously you guys know that's where we kind of started off. And she wanted to see the similarities and the differences and everything. And she called me over and over again as she was listening to the book that John Glatt made, My Sweet Angel. And she was like, I just don't understand. They left again. They left him again. They called, they did this, they did that. The hospital called. Why the hell did this happen? And it was, again, one of those situations totally preventable if somebody had actually done their job. And the same thing happens in this case too with Josh Powell and these kids,
So Run with Scissors and then Fighting Crime. Please make sure you're not generalizing all child protective services. There are hundreds of thousands of social workers out there who are overworked and do their job the best they can. It's typically, those good apples, bad apples scenario of people who are overworked, and some of them just don't care. Like in the Gabriel Fernandez case, like that old woman did not care. And then there are ones that care too much and take on too much where they can't manage their responsibilities.
Well, and I think a lot of it comes down to the supervisory roles too. Yes. And that was who was being charged in the Gabriel Fernandez, was not the social worker necessarily who went out, but it was the supervisory positions that kind of signed off on things and just was like, oh no, we knocked, but and just signed off on it as if it actually was a visit, these different things. And I agree with you. I don't understand how they happen over and over again as well. Like Colleen said, if it was just a clear case of, I have 75 kids I'm taking care of, I can't possibly be everywhere at all times. I'm not God, so I'm not all knowing and all seeing and all, I'm not that way. So I can only visit so many houses in a day, and I can only see so much going on in a house, or that would make, those make sense to me. I understand. It's still no less tragic, but I understand that. But when it is gross negligence, in this case, I don't blame the social worker. She didn't know the kids were going to run ahead like that. She didn't know that he was going to slam the door in her face. And she tried calling 911. They didn't help her. There's been a lot of speculation about what the operator should have or should have not done. It didn't seem like they were communicating well with her. She tried calling her supervisor and saying, what do I do? I need to get help here immediately. So
but it wasn't her. It wasn't
her, but the department for sure, they knew these things. They knew, and the Coxes had been fighting them for so long and trying to get it, and there had been statements from Josh of, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill myself. Like, there had been these statements. And when those things are made, there is absolutely no understanding, of why they were still being forced to go and visit with their father. it was tragic. And so we're actually going to, what I said is we're going to do is we'll work on a pre-recorded this for this week, and I'll probably try to get it up, sometime in the middle of the week, as long as we can get Anne on as quickly as possible. We'll let you guys know. It'll be on our socials. But we have taken a little bit of a break, so I wanted to kind of tell you guys where we're at and what we're doing. So we did have some corruption in the files of our Scott Peterson episodes. We have fixed episode 1, so that's back up for you. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to go ahead and re-record episode 2, because it was the one that had the most corruption. And then we'll try and get episode 3 done and 4 done sometime this week. And I do have 3 different bonus episodes for you guys to go with that. So this was our big finale. We know that it was kind of disappointing that it got delayed yet again with something that happened in this stuff. But, we're doing everything we can to get this stuff out to you. But we're going to have a bonus episode that Colleen did with Kirk Nurmi, talking about the burden of proof, the death penalty, all of that good stuff. I also did an interview with Joseph Scott Morgan. And that was, he's obviously our favorite death investigator, and he gave me some great information on what he saw from the autopsy, from just what he knows, all these different things. And then our third one, which I'm super, super excited about. So I know you guys know that when I did my episode, I based a lot of mine on social, like psychology and psychological profiling and those things. And I took a lot of that from this book here, which I think is insanely great. So if you guys are interested in these types of cases, like their killer spouses, this book is great. And so we got to interview Dr. Robbie Ludwig, which I'm really excited about. She's amazing. She doesn't just talk about Scott Peterson in this book. She talks about, I know she talks about Chris Watts. I know she talks about Christian Longo. She even covers a couple of the women killers in here. It's great. And she has several different types of killers. She classifies them as. So we got to sit down with her, me and Tori, and ask her a lot of things. And it was really great. So, and it gives a very psychological perspective on this whole thing. And I really thought it was great. So the name of the book is Till Death Do Us Part, Love, Marriage, and the Mind of the Killer Spouse. And it's by Dr. Robbie Ludwig, not Ludwig. It's Ludwig, I think. Or Tori might have said it's Ludwig. I can't remember. I one way is the way that I'm saying is right, and one way is wrong. I don't know, but it is Ludwig. Whatever that is, that's what it is. So anyway, but we do all those with her. So,
and the interview that we will be doing with Anne is going to be amazing. We haven't, talked about the Powell case with you guys yet, because it's a large. We have ton of files,
3,000 files, not pieces of paper, files that came in with that case. So that is a case that we will be covering later. I think it'll probably be in mid of next year. We're going to cover it in great detail. And right now Monday we will be coming back with our crime of the month. We are talking about the Chicago mob and FBI agent Elaine Smith, who was one woman who took down the entire mob in the 80s and 90s in Chicago. And what I didn't know is, like, the Chicago mob is actually even worse than like the New York mob. And it's actually where all the New York mob pulls from. Like, they're really the ones in charge, and so they are the most deadly. Yeah, they're the most deadly thing. So it's a really interesting series that we're doing there. And then obviously, we're wrapping up the Good Wives Guide to True Crime.
Season 2.
Season 2. We'll be finishing off with the Scott Peterson stuff. And then we are working on one. It's going to be a talk show kind of thing with me and Tori. Really entertainment focused, but pop culture will be in there. A little bit of true crime. Tanya will be joining us for lunchtime stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're going to do some great interviews with industry professionals and just talk, interesting stuff. And then a second podcast that we're working on as a team with Todd Matthews, which is the former director of NamUs, and we're going to be doing that one on missing persons. So it'll be all missing and unsolved cases. And we actually we're trying to work out with David Middleman. If you remember, we had him on right before we took this little break. He does all the DNA testing on the cold cases. We are trying to get them together to work on this together, and we might do a bigger case and see what we can figure out. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we have coming up. And then we're actually also working on 2 more projects that are 2 other podcasts that we'll be helping produce. And they're true crime adjacent. I'll just say that, but it'll be a lot of fun. You guys are going to really enjoy them. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, but we're back, and we won't be stopping on this channel. We'll continue on. We don't have a season kind of thing here. And we're working on a couple of cool new things too. We're working on a series called Serial Killers Around the World that Colleen and I and Tori and Christina are working on. It'll be a little different than this. I think we're going to try and do more of like a TV series documentary kind of thing with that. And I'm also looking at trying to get Paul Holes, who was, obviously he was the researcher for Michelle McNamara and I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and Joseph Scott Morgan to kind of go in with us on a documentary for the Delphi murders, which is something that I'm completely obsessed with.
Yeah, she is.
Well,
and then you're working with Steven.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stephen, on the Kathy Jones case. And he was supposed to be on last week, guys. I think we'll probably have him on next week. As long as he's available, he'll be on for Friday night. And I'm actually supposed to meet up with him in Tennessee coming up here real soon. And we're going to walk the crime scene and the exact path that Kathy traveled on that day as she was heading to the roller rink. So it's going to be really interesting. And then I know that Colleen and I are trying to coordinate with Cheryl McCollum and Joseph and a couple others to go down and hopefully praying that Nancy Grace is there because I want to talk to her.
I just want to meet her.
Go down and go to Atlanta and walk a crime scene with them. And I know that I just talked with Cheryl too about the new case that CSI Atlanta is covering of the it's the Shaw case. I can't think of. It's Tommy Shaw is the child. I think it's Danny Shaw. That's what it is. So we've got a lot of things we're working on, guys, right now. We just needed to take a little break to kind of regroup and figure out where we were, what we needed to do and how to get things coming back. Don't forget that we do have our 5 at 4s starting up on Monday again. And also Colleen's This Day in True Crime at 6 p.m. every day starting Monday. She'll be back again starting those up. I know you guys like those. So everything is, we've just got a lot going on right now. I'm so very sorry that we didn't get to hear from Anne tonight. I promise we will get that up as soon as we possibly can so that you guys can do so. Now, if you have any questions for Anne on the Powell case or that you'd like to ask the Cox family, because I can ask her to talk with them, although I am friends with the grandfather or the father too, but I don't talk with him very often, but I am friends with him on Facebook. So we can get some questions maybe over to them as well. If you have any of those questions, please drop us a line at goodwivesdish, that's DISH, at gmail.com, and we will go ahead and do that. Don't forget that we have our new contest. That's the word of the week. So you need to listen to us over on Facebook. Listen to Colleen, listen to me, listen to Christina and Tori for the word of the week. And then you come back here on Friday nights. We'll tell you when to text it into us with your name, what time we asked for it, and that's timestamp. So if you don't catch us live, we still give you all the way till Monday to get your text in of the timestamp that we asked for it and what the word is, and you can win a special prize. And we announce the winners on our Monday night show. So guys, you want to make sure that you're listening for that this next week, because we've done it a couple of times and nobody's done it. So you guys have missed out. Don't miss out on these cool prizes. And then the other thing that we're doing with the Scott Peterson thing is when we finally get them all back up again, guys, you're going to have an opportunity to win an even bigger prize from us in being able to share your verdict based on what we presented of what you think of the Scott Peterson case. So we're really excited about that too, guys. Mm-hmm. So we've got a lot going on.
Always busy behind the scenes.
Always busy behind the scenes, and we're always thinking of new things. If you guys have cases that you'd like us to cover in either our crime of the month or on our Friday night lives, where we can interview, we typically interview people connected with cases, please go ahead and send those over to us at Good Wives Dish as well. It doesn't have to just be murder. It can also be,
assault or kidnappings,
kidnappings, sex trafficking, any of the crimes against children, any of those things that you're interested in, any of those cases, please send them to us and we will take a look at them.
Well, and then with Anne, so we're talking about the Powells, but we'll be briefly bringing up Rebecca Zahow, which we haven't talked about over here. So if you have any questions about that case, also just send those over so potentially we can ask Anne about it.
Great. And I think next month we're working on Dahmer.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to do, I told her that'll be our crime of the month coming up after the Chicago mob and Elaine Smith. So guys, we've got a lot coming down the pipeline. We always do. And like I said, we're always thinking of new things to add. So we've got our true crime tidbits too. So there's a lot of stuff, guys. So, and like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, or cases that you'd like us to cover, drop us a line at goodwivesdish@gmail.com. Follow us over on Instagram and Facebook at True Crime Wives. / True Crime Wives. And you can catch us on Twitter as well. And I know that our wonderful social media manager, Amanda Swank, who is, I got to just say, she's just amazing, guys. Insanely amazing.
Yes.
She is actually working on some cool new stuff over there. There's going to be a lot more updates of just regular cases. And I think she's going to work on some bios about us. So you guys will get to learn more about your Murder by Design and the Good Wives. So, alrighty, guys, have a wonderful evening. We will see you back here on Monday. Bye.
Bye.